All right. Hey, this is the second Dad Blast.
Yeah, we did.
And this is the week.
A dad emission.
What is a dad emission? What is today's date?
It's like September something.
September
20th?
Is it the 20th?
Because I think...
21st.
Yeah, 21st. Okay.
21st. Okay, so September 21st. So
probably the first day of fall.
Is it?
Technically.
Okay.
I don't know. The dates change every year.
We live in North Carolina. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's all made up here.
We'll have every single season this week. So
yeah. So the good news is we have a little more in the news to talk about this week. The bad news is not much of it's greater than it was last week.
Well, it's news about something that was dark. So
yeah, well, and it's still like
so
the shockwaves.
We could talk a little freer about it, maybe.
Yeah, but like also it's mostly the shockwaves of that. So that's what we're dealing with is we're experiencing the aftermath of that event. Yeah. But before we get into the too heavy of stuff, let's start with something light. Halo Reach 15th anniversary. Man.
You were the one who told me about this.
Yes,
too.
And it was just a couple of days ago. I think it was like Wednesday that we reached the 15th anniversary. Apparently, my hindsight bias is not great because I have always thought Halo Reach was a booming success, but I'm being told now that a lot of people didn't like Halo Reach when it came out. And I don't understand that. That's
the Mandela effect.
Dude, it's my favorite Halo. I think it's the best.
You're being gaslit by somebody.
By YouTube.
By ex-Bungie employees.
Right.
Well, somebody.
Disgruntled. 343 is like, I know that was their best one, but
it's
we
a
can't
psyop.
let people know.
Yeah, it's a psyop by 343.
It is. But they're apparently literally going to remake I don't know if they're remaking Reach or if they're just doing like a re-release of a upgraded version, but their 343 is planned because I think it's 30 years of Bungie coming up. Whoa. Or 25 years maybe of not Bungie, of Halo coming up. And I think for that big anniversary, they're going to remake, not just remaster, but fully reboot the original trilogy. So it's going to be a Master Chief Collection 2, basically. So there's that.
That's for a somewhat niche group of people. That's very exciting.
Well, I feel like a lot of
wouldn't consider one of the biggest games of all time niche, but
right
for people who still follow it, it's very important. Yeah, this is big. Makes me feel good.
Anyways,
thanks for that feel good news.
That's right.
Wow.
So now
we're dad blasting off into slightly better vibes this time.
All over everyone, with the good vibes.
Blast and happiness.
Blast and happiness. So we do have to cut into the most of it. Some of the most devastating news for me was Ben and Jerry broke up. And
congrats to them for being together in the first place.
I'll hold off on
it's
the
about
reasoning.
The journey.
Right. It's about what got you here. It's the friends you made along the way.
Don't cry because it's over.
Smile because it happened.
A tub of ice cream.
I'll hold off on the explanation until we get the other two topics covered as well, because the other big one is Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air by the cowards at ABC.
Yeah. The Great Replacement.
The Great
happening. Wait, that's not what that means, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay.
That's the.
I was misinformed
because he did not agree with things like the Great Replacement theory.
That was a look thing.
He's not smiled upon by the current administration, and so because of that, the toddler in chief stamped his feet and had his tantrum, and the FCC head, who is a massive part of Project 2025, and Brennan is a huge contributor to that financially, and he helped write the shit. So
I'd like to think that there's a specific page in the book, the 2025 playbook, and it just is like September of 2025. Celebrate because we took down Jimmy Kimmel.
Well, it's almost.
And then the next page is like day after celebrating. Back to the plan.
Yeah, they're speed running Project 2025, by the way. And everybody who says, "Oh, they're not doing that," or "They never did it," dude, they're like 50% of the way done with the plan, and we're not even a year in.
Hashtag grind. Hashtag on the grind.
Grind into fascism. We're doing it. And what was the other thing that was related?
Fascism out hustling y'all. Just stack your bread up.
That's right.
Fascism stacking its.
How you gonna let some fascist out grind you? And Antifa was declared a terrorist organization, and I want to be very clear. Antifa is not a formal organization. It is more of a ideology, I guess. Antifa is just short for anti-fascism. And so when an administration comes out and says, hey, anti-fascists are terrorists, kind of sounds like something a fascist would say. I'm just going to leave that there. And I understand that
we've got the black background now. Someone's watching. They're like, "Oh, here comes the propaganda. Here we go. It's happening."
Well, the reason I'm so loosey goosey talking about this week is because this is one of the few things where I've seen people on both sides going, "Hey, wait. This is a problem because freedom of speech." And I made it pretty clear in the last episode, the last Dad Blast we did. I wasn't a fan of Charlie Kirk for several different reasons, but the one thing that I will genuinely say is I think Charlie Kirk probably would have seen this as what it is, which is an attack on free speech. And some people go, well, and it's funny because a lot of the MAGA crowd is just echoing the same sentiments that liberals have echoed for the past 12 years, which is you have the freedom of speech, but not the freedom from consequences. And that's true. But Jimmy Kimmel specifically is not that. Okay. The FCC chair, which is an appointed position by Donald Trump, said to ABC, we don't like what he said. You pull him or we'll start pulling licensing. That is government overreach and that is government interference with free press. That is unconstitutional. I do not care who you are. We are a comedy podcast, and I'm telling you that this is stage one of silencing people because of their opinions. And if any of you picked up your history books and you read, you know where this is going, because people keep saying you can't liken the United States to 1930s Germany or whatever. It took Hitler 13 years to rise to power. He was democratically elected because he had a ton of charisma. And then as soon as he got in, he started jailing political opponents. He started silencing media that talked against him. And he started rounding people up. And I'm telling you that this is all connected because... to get back to Ben and Jerry.
Yeah, it's going to look like I was smirking.
No.
Because it's just Jimmy Kimmel led to this.
Yeah.
It was just like, wow, you got in depth with the rise of Hitler and stuff.
Yeah,
this is from Jimmy Kimmel.
I, like most dads, have watched my fair
Who
share
knew
of
Jimmy
World
Kimmel would be the crux of our historical moment?
As most dads,
Jimmy Kimmel got you going into the Third Reich. This is...
Well, I watch a lot of World War II documentaries.
Yes.
Because that's a dad thing.
They do become more and more interesting as you get older.
Man, there's one that details the entire rise of Nazi Germany on Netflix. It is really good.
Yeah.
It's good information. I'm not pro-Nazi. Let's be very clear. Despite all the eugenics jokes that have been made on this podcast around my autism, I'm not a Nazi.
The algorithm's like, what are y'all saying? Write that down.
The transcript's raising red flags. What is going on?
Are these guys being serious or not?
I can't figure it out.
All I see are words, and some of them are not good.
Others are
fine. But if they're being sarcastic, it's fine.
But okay, so this is where we get back into Ben and Jerry's too, because Ben and Jerry,
and then Ben and Jerry's, it's like Third Reich, Jimmy Kimmel,
Ben and Jerry's. This one's all over the place, but it's all related. So just everybody hang in there with me. Jerry left Ben and Jerry's because Ben and Jerry, part of their contract when Unilever bought them was they get to keep their board in place and they get to continue to maintain their values, like social justice and all of that stuff was listed in their contract.
Wouldn't their values be not signing a contract with a corporation in the first place?
You would think, but at the same time, it was like $340 million. So kind of hard, especially if the company's willing to let you keep your values for the money. So,
all right.
But Unilever, at receiving pressure from the current administration, has decided that they want to renege on that deal, and they have told Ben and Jerry that they need to pull back on their social positions, and Jerry refused to do that, and good old Jerome, man, he stuck to it. And it doesn't sound like there's any bad blood between him and Ben. I think Ben's decision was to try and continue to implement change and push for honesty and push for them to be able to do what they were told they could do. So he's going to stay in and try to fight for that stuff. But
we think it's all good between them, but Jerry's like planning to just come on stage with a chainsaw when Ben's talking one day. He's like, "You're a part of the machine now."
They had to.
We made a pinky promise when we were 17, making ice cream together. That's what's coming off first.
And then, Stephen Colbert comes out because he's got a flavor from Ben and Jerry's. He's like, this isn't the way to do it. And he's like, but I got canceled too, so fuck the administration. Whatever. I forgot all about how Stephen Colbert's thing.
Oh, that's right. He's on his way out.
He was pressured to quit. Anyways.
I'll be disappointed if he doesn't do something extremely push an envelope or something. Like, come on, man.
The one thing that they need to understand, because
it's not punishable by death yet, I don't think.
We saw this with conservatives too when they thought their free speech was under attack, right? Is people like Alec Jones, Charlie Kirk, Nick Fuentes, Milo Yiannopoulos, however the fuck you say that idiot's name, all of those people, and you even have people now in this day and age like, what's the guy who pissed himself when he got tased by the cops? Elder Millennial on TikTok. He did. He super pro blue line guy, and told people that kids that have been killed by the cops should have just stopped resisting.
Which
or
is
whatever.
Funny because when you pee in a diaper, a blue line shows up.
Yeah, that's true. But no, he's pro don't resist, whatever, and then he resisted police and he got tased and pissed his pants. Anyways, all of those people got their rise out of the rise of cancel culture. So now, because all the voices who felt like they were being silenced, who felt like they were being oppressed, which again, it comes down to that there is a line, right? And there is the freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequences. And I hate to say it like this, but a lot of people lost their jobs because of what they said about Charlie Kirk. And you are not free of consequences. It works both ways. It unfortunately does. Even if people think you're right for the most part, if your company doesn't, you're going to get fired.
You just got to wait for your turn to get the other side fired.
Right.
You just got to play the game.
And people need to be aware of their digital footprints, because a lot of the shit you say on the internet is forever in some way or another, because the server farms that are destroying rural America are just big banks full of all of our data, and they're just holding on to information that you think
was even relevant in our neck of the woods. The Earnhardt, Teresa Earnhardt was trying to sell some of their land for a server farm, and then Dale Jr. and his sister were fighting against it, but now the deal's not happening. But it was a lot of money. It was no, it was a ton of money.
When I tell you,
so it was a big deal outside of Charlotte.
I derailed a little bit, so I want to bring it back in. Freedom of speech is being infringed upon, and whether or not you stand on the left or on the right, it has never ever been a left versus right thing. And I think more and more people are starting to realize that, but more quickly need to reach the conclusion, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to dig too deep into conspiracies and say that Donald Trump is a plant of the state, but he was enabled by billionaires like himself to take power, and now these billionaires are running rampant, and those people are the ones funding and pulling funding and making power plays to remove our freedom of speech so that they can make whatever laws they want and continue to deplete us of our resources, continue to take our healthcare, continue to make us poor and make themselves wealthy. And I'm telling you that this is another step. We are already way too deep into this, and we're about to be at the point where now it's just anybody who has any negative opinions, and because of the fact that they have these tech billionaires behind them, they will have the ability to pull up anything negative you've ever said. And that is not freedom of speech. That is not the ability to live freely. I'm not going to start a revolution right here from the dad blast, but this is one
if this video doesn't get 1 million views, it's proof that the government's censoring us.
That's right.
And that's not reverse psychology that I'm trying to use to get views.
That's right. You know, if you notice that this has low views, share, comment below, you know, fight the government, fight the system. And by the way,
a lot of big time channels are starting to make a lot more sense now since we jokingly just started doing that.
Right.
They're like, if it gets low views, it's the government's out to get you. I'm like, oh, that's a good ploy.
I'm done with my political dad rant, but just understand that I'm not on one side or the other of this because I think both sides are swinging their hammer against us, and we are going to have to do something very pointed. I don't know the right word, but it's going to require action sooner than later. That's all I'm going to say.
You've been dad blasted.
You've been dad blasted.
You've been thoroughly dad blasted.
You got the happy blast. You got the sad blast.
Yeah, we wanted to end on some good news. And the good news is that probably somewhere recently some good news did happen. So that's as good as we can get right now. But that's progress. That's something, you know?
Yeah, and
something good probably did happen somewhere recently.
I'm sure there is positive. We probably should have focused more on finding positive.
We're going to dad blast our way to more positive things.
We will. I genuinely, anybody who's watching this or listening, because by the way, I apologize to all of our listeners. I always forget that we actually have just listen-only crowds.
They're like, no, this is more of a dadifesto.
Yeah, well, I apologize for getting super heavy with this, but this is why we made the dad blast, because I kept doing it in the episodes about our kids.
Part of being a dad, being real with your kids.
That's right. So
try and be more real with them.
I realized that we kind of got a little crazy with it, and I apologize for that. I promise to anyone watching or listening that it's not, if we can find positive stuff, we will. And I'll make it a point to start looking at it. But as a comedy podcast that will piss people off,
we have to learn how to formally apologize.
We do need to do that. But more importantly, I wanted to talk about freedom of speech and the blatant attacks on it this week. And I know I'm edging us right back off the road here, but it is important that everyone is allowed to speak freely. A perfect example, our podcast reviews are like I pissed someone off. I didn't even say anything that bad about Charlie Kirk on the internet, but whatever I said, they didn't like it.
It was a timing thing, you know. Timing will make things touchy.
They didn't like it, and they went and left us a review. So now we have 3 reviews, and one of them is a 1-star, so we're sitting at 4 stars on podcast reviews. So if you guys could go review these on Apple Podcasts, that'd be great.
And I just hate being criticized, so I sat at home and punched myself in the stomach until I threw up a little bit of blood. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks. You made us both very sad and vomit blood.
Scared my toddler.
Jesus Christ. All right, well, let's wrap up this.
That's what happens when you do a bad review.
That's right. We suffer.
Thanks anyways.
His toddler suffers. We'll wrap this dad blast up. Listen, I hope this format hasn't lost too many people. This is, again, us just trying to get our thoughts on current events out so that during the episodes about parenting and all that shit, you guys can have our focus on that topic. So, if you don't like it, let us know in the comments. If you think that we should kind of reshift and look into ways that we can change the way we approach current events, let us know in the comments.
And we we're fine with bad reviews because we believe in freedom of speech and
That's right.
consequences.
No,
so go ahead and give us a consequence.
Listen, freedom of
Reviews are
speech.
fair is fair.
I'll take my licks. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys don't like us, I'm not asking you to leave a positive review. You can be honest. You can talk about what you don't like. You can talk about what you do like. It's fine because we're using our voices, and there are people that have the same thoughts that we have. There are people that will have opposing thoughts, and if those people leave bad reviews, I'm hoping that the people who have the same thoughts that we do leave good reviews, and there's a good mix. And then you guys have gotten to use your voice to let people know, hey, if you think like me, you might not like this, but if you think like them, you will. Whatever. That's the whole point. That's, again, nice way to put a little bow on it. Freedom of speech, that's your right to do that, however you want to do it. Leave us reviews, leave us negative or positive comments. Thumbs up, thumbs down the podcast, whatever you want to do. We respect all of it because America was built on those principles. And while I don't think that America is great right now, I still believe in my heart of hearts that it can be one day. And I believe that
America was built on the right to be able to do dad blasts.
That's right. America, it's a constitution. All right, look it up. Dad blast is right there.
Yeah.
Article 1. Okay.
Yep.
But I appreciate you guys hanging out. This one might seem a little choppy because there's definitely stuff I'm going to have to cut. But thanks. Hopefully you guys watch our episodes on Sundays. Remember to like and subscribe. Follow us on all of our socials at the Dad Voice Pod everywhere. If you want dad advice on our main series, like the hour-long episodes, email us at dadvoicepod@gmail.com with the subject line dad advice, and we will read your dad advice requests on the episode, and you will be a part of a Dad Voice podcast episode.
Whoa.
So that's pretty cool, right?
We're inviting others.
We're involving our audience.
Yeah.
Anyways, no matter if you agree with me or disagree with me, love all you guys.
Yeah.
The support or the lack of support, it still means everything that you watched. And whoever you are, I hope you have the freedom to say and do what you want.
Go forth and dad blast.
That's right. Blast like
it.
a dad.
Yeah.
All right.